Mortgage stress and budget pain. Let's have a look. Hello everyone, Florian here and welcome to another episode of HeiseSays. Grab your stein of coffee and I want to go through an article from the ABC. Now, I've put out a previous video today, or maybe I'll put it out after this one, about a young lady, 22-year-old, who has managed to buy herself her first home. Got it built between Gold Coast and Brisbane. You know, single-story place. Fantastic. Great to see. Encouraging. And how she did it? Well, working 55 hours a week at Coles and Macca's. Doing the hard yards that you have to do. It's not for everyone. Everyone doesn't want to do that. But, I mean, good on people that manage that. I made the joke that, well, we've gotten to the point now where you need to work 2 jobs at Macca's or Coles. Where back in the day, a few years ago, you just had to work at Macca's and you'd have a 40-property portfolio. But still, in all seriousness, good on her. But let's have a look at this alternative article here, or a different one, from ABC that's come out around the same time. Mortgage stress has some Australians bracing for a new year of budget pain. Now, I've mentioned many times in previous videos that we're going to start seeing sob stories. The ABC, they tend to love their sob stories. They find people in the woodwork and they just ham it all up. So let's have a look and compare this story, because there's a woman here about the same age, but she's going to the ABC bitching and moaning, where the other one is bragging about how they've succeeded. I guess it's a different approach to life, perhaps. So, mortgage stress has some Australians bracing for a new year of budget pain. Well, it will. I mean, we're looking at about, you know what, let me bring up that file here. Interest rates are rising. What are we looking at? Bear with me. Here it is. We're looking at about a 40% increase for a lot of people. So yeah, but you've got to realize rates like this, fixed rate, bullshit fantasy fixed rates, they're not real, guys. You know that, don't you? I mean, people know that, don't they? They realize that 1.99% is not like going to be there for the life of their mortgage. Should I hope so? So let's have a look. Baraka Mohammadi, or Mohammed, said she works 12 hours a day just to make ends meet and pay off her mortgage. Okay, so what? 12 times 5? She's doing 60 hours a week, guys. To all the small business owners and tradies, I know you'll be laughing at this, okay? I know 12 hours a day doesn't seem like anything other than normal. But come on, this is the ABC. The journalists probably only work 3 hours a week. So, she's 23 from North Adelaide and told the ABC she might have to stop university to pick up more work hours if her mortgage repayments and living costs increased further. Well, that's the decision you've got to make. What the hell do you expect? Rent out extra rooms. Find a way to make it work. The fact that you're 23 years old and already getting into a house is a fantastic achievement. Why are you complaining to the ABC now? I was actually trying to cut a few of my hours so I could concentrate on my study. But if I cut any hours, I'm not going to be able to pay my mortgage. Her home cost her $390,000 and mortgage repayments were originally $750 a month. But amid the latest interest rate rises, her repayments jumped to $940. Okay, yeah, well, did she honestly believe that the Reserve Bank was not going to increase the cash rate? And even if they were going to, you know, the way the media was reporting, even if they weren't going to increase it until 2024, you're just putting off these challenges for a few more years. I guess perhaps she'd be finished with uni, because that would be the challenging thing, is juggling university and work. So if the interest rate is going to go higher than this, it means I'll have to quit my study, and I've been thinking about it because I can't juggle full-time study and full-time work. Rising grocery costs and other expenses have compounded her situation and forced her to budget for the first time. How did she save up enough to get into a house if this is the first time she's ever had to budget? Can someone explain that to me? I've never had that issue, but now I do budget every week. When I get my pay slip, I'm like, okay, this much is going to the home loan, then this much is going to the bills. $50 is going to my petrol. She has cut back on socializing and online shopping to help find some savings. I mean, what are we supposed to feel here? Are we meant to feel sorry for her? She's growing up, okay? She's 23 years old. This is the first time she's encountering tough times, here in Australia at least, financially. And so she's got a budget. And so who cares? That's part of life. She'll be fine. Australians have to make hard calls. And I tell you, see, what I'm saying, it's going to be discretionary spending. Socializing, online shopping, discretionary spending, all those are luxuries. That's where people will cut back before they give up on their house. They'll do everything they can to hold on to their house. So if you're hoping for a big 50% crash and property come tumbling down and everyone's vindicated who's been saying property's going down forever, guys, Australians are going to fight that bare bloody hell with bare tooth and nail. They're going to fight to keep onto their houses. The RBA increased the cash rate by 25 basis points last month, bringing it to 3.1%. Mortgage broker Gracious Chidhakwa. Did I get that right? Chidhakwa told the ABC some households they need to put the little how to pronounce it in English above the names. You know, isn't that what we're meant to do now that we're all multicultural? Anyway. Told the ABC some house... Oh, who am I kidding? I can't even pronounce normal Australian names, let alone some of the... Anyway. Told some households had already started missing their repayments, and she warned the full effect of rate rises would not yet be felt for some time. Okay, some households have. 0.35% of mortgages. Okay? It's not significant, sadly. There are always going to be some people that miss repayments. That's always going to happen. We are now seeing some missing their repayments. Some are coming back to us saying, look, can we refinance as soon as possible? Or some are having to sell because they may not be able to afford the property anymore, she said. She said low rental vacancies combined with high interest rates were forcing rental prices up because landlords were passing on interest rate rises to their renters. Well, the issue with that is you need to increase supply in the market. And, I mean, look at the policies that are getting put forward by our politicians. The Greens are calling for rent control. We looked at that in the previous video about how much of a disaster it is. And you know what? Let's jump there here because there's going to be calls for that. I guarantee you there'll be calls for rent control here in Australia. Well, no, there are calls for rent control here in Australia. You've got to remember, you've got a free market where you have a level here of equilibrium. And if you set an artificial maximum rent, you're going to create a difference in the demand for rental houses, which is here, and the actual people that can be bothered stumping up with their properties. So there's a difference. You're disincentivizing people from entering the market. And, well, you usually create a black market, a shadow market, or a fallen rental properties. They're the two things that you have to worry about. We need to increase supply in property here. And the problem here in Australia is, well, it's the one that is the biggest, is it's a multi-level issue, housing supply. You've got councils, you've got state, and you've got federal government all trying to address the issue together. But then you have policies at a council level that limit development. You've got the Not My Backyard crowd. Then you've got the government just throwing money, which all it does is overheat the situation. So yeah, it's really awesome, guys. The whole housing sector here in Australia. But let's keep going through this article. Those who are wanting mortgages, some are having to sell, some are having to downsize, some are having to make those hard calls. Yeah, that's just a part of life. The cash rate is going up. We all knew it. If you believed foolishly what the Reserve Bank said or how the media reported on the Reserve Bank, maybe this should be a lesson for you to be a bit more critical of what is being put to you by the media. Some are having to make some significant cuts, whether they're stopping their children from going to private schooling. There you go. Putting their kids back into public schooling just to make ends meet. Yeah, I mean, that's a lot of money for private schooling, everyone. Ali Kawasar, mortgage broker and owner of AK Home Loans, based in the west of Melbourne, told the ABC that some aspiring homeowners who secured house and land packages last year did not want to proceed. Most of them are first home buyers. They're not investors yet, so they didn't have mortgage stress. But the current rate stress, because of that, They are not getting in the market at the moment, or very few of them are getting in, he said. They don't know about the future. Whatever plans they had, it's all cancelled, he said. 12 months ago, we told them everything is fine. Yes, you can borrow that much and everything will be fine. We're happy, but 12 months later, we've had to apologize to them. So the mortgage brokers told them, yep, you can borrow that, it's fine. But rates have gone up in that period. Now the people can't borrow the same amount of money, so they're kind of screwed. But shouldn't people be planning for that? Did people really, really believe the Reserve Bank when they weren't, or the way the media was reporting that the Reserve Bank wasn't going to keep the rates up? Are they is the average punter or average ABC reader basing their financial decisions on the shit Koshy says on the morning TV? Because that makes so much sense. We're screwed as a country. So, oh boy. So brace for the end of a fixed rate. Bracing for the end of a fixed rate. If you can afford to go to Paris, mate, you can afford to buy a house. Come on. David is anxiously watching Australia's mortgage rate rise and considering whether he will have to take up another job soon. Mr. Lin, a Melburnian in his 30s, has his mortgage rate fixed before the pandemic. But that will expire next year, meaning if rates stay where they are, he will be forced to pay an extra $300 to $400 every month. Okay, how much were you paying, mate, before you fixed? Before, the year before that. How much were you paying? Are you getting close to that again? Or did he get in? Are these all first home buyers that are just going to get screwed? Are these the people that are going to get done over? It's bearable, but an increased mortgage is more stressful for a single person. Mr. Lin, who works in e-commerce, said, a lot of non-essential spending will have to be retrenched. That's what's going to happen. People are just going to cut back. As mortgage rates increase, Mr. Lin is also feeling the pressure of other rising living costs. It's pretty obvious. It used to be $20 for a takeaway. Now it's $30. Well, if you can afford takeaway, mate, what do you got to get rid of the takeaway. I mean, when you're single, I can get it. Here's the thing, we did look at the other video yesterday about children being so expensive. It's not. When you cook for 8 people a meal, it's so much cheaper than living by yourself, really, because you waste so much as a single person. So I can understand why he's getting the takeaway, but you gotta cook in bulk and freeze it, I guess. I mean, what am I saying? When I was in my early 20s living in an apartment, a single bed unit above a pizza shop, and Rachel and I just started dating, I think I had black coffee and red wine. That's all I had. There was a pizza shop downstairs, so I could always go get, and this is a gourmet pizza place, and milk was at the 7-Eleven. We were fine. So it's all you needed. But yeah, I had to cook for myself, but when I went to the market, I found foods are much more expensive than before. Money is gone quickly. Yes, food is getting more expensive. I mean, I just dropped over $700 on a big shop the other day. While Mr. Lim is expecting a rise in his salary, he worries it will not be enough and might consider picking up another job. Now I'm thinking about the extra casual jobs during the weekend, he said. I didn't think carefully about expenditure before, but now I have to. So, what can you do to manage mortgage stress? Founder and Chief Executive of Financial Empowerment, Grace Maguba, said, I mean, this is the most wokest bloody article in the world. They've got like every mix diversity box here in Australia. Where's the white Australian? Where's the Aboriginal Australian? Come on. Where's the LGBTQ couple? ABC, what are you doing here? You're missing all your targets. Come on. Or are they specifically trying to? I mean, they're not really. It's not like it's. They're not talking about like ethnic neighbourhoods where they've all bought in, like in certain parts of Sydney where it's going to be tough if they bought in really high. Young people FOMOing in. That's the Australian dream they're going to learn, isn't it? Come to Australia, buy a really overcosted house of no eaves. Look at that. I guess it's over a garage. Got a little eave there, but even there. Anyway, Grace Maguba said the cost of living crisis and rising interest rates were hitting most people hard, particularly culturally and linguistically diverse Australians and migrants. Okay, so that's the point, the CALD people. She helps migrants and multicultural Australians manage their money, told the ABC that some families had the added pressure of sending money to relatives in their country of origin. So when things are rising here, that means they need to be spending more money for survival. But unfortunately, they also need to be able to support their families overseas, she said. That could be real tough because the family overseas wouldn't appreciate how much pressure the rising costs could be here as well. She said some prospective home buyers relied on assurances that interest rates would not rise until 2024 and are now struggling. Ah, shit. Well, okay, I made the comment that do people really trust what they see on the news? If you're struggling with English from another culture, maybe you're not going to be the type of person that is digging into RBA minutes or watching YouTube channels with crazy bald people talking about stuff. And so you will believe the crap that Koshi tells you and what's put all over on the news and plastered in that and make financial decisions on it. Shit. So this is what they're doing. A lot more people from the CALD community are seeking financial counselling. Experts say up to 80% of households in some of Melbourne's most multicultural postcodes were struggling financially in the middle of last year, well before the cash rate reached its current mark. Well, yeah, that's terrible if they're at that point already, 80%. She said she had recently seen an increase in the number of people attending her budget management workshops. For people in financial distress, she said, aside from contacting your bank financial counsellor, Money Smart offered important tips. Yep. But there is a lot more that needs to be done in terms of translating this information into English into various languages. I mean, translating, is Dave Ramsey in Spanish? Could find that. I mean, I'm a first-generation Australia descendant from immigrants. My father learned English on the boat as he was coming over here from Germany. But I guess it's a bit different for the Germans. They German and English, their cultures are very similar. For people suffering rent stress, she suggested getting someone else in to share the dwelling with and split the costs. Miss Chidhawaka said households struggling to meet mortgage repayments should speak to their broker. Now, she said mortgage holders need to try and make sure they did not miss repayments because that could affect their ability to borrow money in the future. Okay, guys, well, let's have a bit of a talk about this. So certainly a different take on this article compared to the previous one we looked at, where there was a 22-year-old celebrating buying a house. But, I mean, here's the thing. If you've got migrant communities, people coming over to Australia and are just, wanting to live the Australian dream, believing the bullshit they're told on the TV and the news and the media that rates won't go up until 2024. And, okay, fine, fantastic. This is Australia. It's all good. We can trust them. And they're getting screwed over. That's just bullshit, really. And it's I wouldn't even blame the RBA. I'd blame the media and the way it's portrayed. Because most people don't have the time to dig into it any further. Particularly if you're coming, if English is your second language or if you're trying to get up and running. There you go. What do you reckon, guys? As always, thanks for watching. Check out HeiseSays and Heise BIM. And if you want to support us, you can financially on YouTube or Patreon. You can use our referral links, buy our pocket squares, or call us if you need an architect. Take care, everyone. Have a great day, and I'll see you in the next episode of HeiseSays. Bye for now. These poor people. They trusted him. And there'd be some people there with bloody high mortgages too, Welcome to Australia.